Welcome to the Political Checkmate, and today I'm going to checkmate Robert Reich's video busting the paid what you're worth myth. So here we go.
You probably heard that everyone is paid what they're worth. Don't buy it. According to this mythology, workers at the bottom are unskilled and don't deserve more than what they currently earn. Minimum wage workers at McDonald's are paid what they are worth in the so-called free market. If they were worth more, they would earn more. By the same logic, the CEO of McDonald's is worth his multi-million-dollar compensation package. The notion that people are paid what they're worth is by now so deeply ingrained in the public consciousness that many who earn very little assume it's their own fault that they don't earn more, that they simply lack the skills they need to be paid more. But there's no such thing as unskilled workers, only underpaid workers.
Well, Robert, the reason why a person would pay what you're worth is because it is whether or not a person is able to produce enough wealth to meet the demand. So if a person whose productivity is worth $10 does not deserve $15 worth of wage, and if you force the employer to pay that amount, it would cause a person to lose the job and be worse off. And the reason why they call a person unskilled late worker is because the person lacks experience to increase their wage, or the jobs are menial or repetitive.
Their productivity, that is the value of what they produce, has been growing for decades. The problem is that their wages haven't kept pace with their productivity. The paid what you're worth mythology also lures the unsuspecting into thinking nothing can be done to change what people are paid. It's simply the way the market works. Meanwhile, according to this same view, CEOs who rake in tens of millions and Wall Street traders who rake in hundreds of billions are simply being paid what they are worth, because that's what the market has dictated. Rubbish!
The productivity pay gap has been debunked by economist Robert Lawrence from the Pearson Institute. He has shown that if we include workers' benefits and fix the narrow definition of worker and use a better inflation measurement, the gap significantly declines, and the cause of what's left of the gap could be due to automation. I gotta say, the productivity gap applies to the economy as a whole, not the minimum wage workers. If we look at the wholesale trade and retail trade industry, we see labor productivity has declined and unit labor cost has increased, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, minimum wage workers' biggest increase to their personal wage is career progression. While the reason why the CEO deserves their pay is because they bring a lot of value for their business, and that is what a National Bureau of Economic Research study found. And also with the Pareto principle, where 20% causes 80% of results, this would make sense with the CEO and the whole business because the CEO has to manage people of each department of the business. And another study has found the increase of the CEO pay to be the rise of the firm performance and size.
The paid what you're worth fairy tale ignores power and disregards policies that have made inequality skyrocket, like the demise of antitrust enforcement, which has given big corporations the power to set prices, make record profits, and reward their CEOs unprecedented compensation.
Antitrust does not increase competition. Rather, it is anti-competitive because it tries to punish firms for making more efficient products, like Microsoft. I would recommend reading these books about antitrust. What actually causes the decline of competition, according to a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, is due to lobbying and regulation.
This fairy tale also ignores the attacks on labor unions that have reduced union membership from over a third of all private sector workers in the 1950s to just 6% today. All of this resulting in a massive shift in power and wealth from workers to owners.
The article from economist Robert Lawrence does not believe the gap to be caused by a decline in labor bargaining, and a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research has found that in the 20th century, many of these gains in the labor market and declined in working hours were when unions were weak.
Those at the top justify their staggering wealth and their worth 3 ways. The first is trickle-down economics. They claim that their wealth trickles down to everyone else as they invest it and create jobs. You just wait for it. But as we know, wealth at the top has soared for decades and nothing has trickled down. The second
Trickle-down economics is a myth to make fun of free markets, and tax cuts have increased economic growth.
is the free market. They talk about market forces beyond their control. But remember, markets are created by rules. These rules don't exist in nature. They're human creations. The political power of the wealthy has let them change the rules for their own benefit, busting unions, monopolizing industries, and reaping big tax cuts.
No, the free market is natural, since it is voluntary exchanges. When we look at animals that were taught money, they did special businesses with other monkeys.
The third is the idea that they're superior human beings. Now, sure, they may be talented, but this doesn't justify the staggering amount of wealth they're now taking home, nor does it justify the amount of wealth they will pass down to their heirs. The biggest intergenerational transfer of wealth in history will occur over the next 25 years as the richest 1.5% of Americans hand down some $36 trillion to their children and grandchildren. This doesn't make those heirs superior. It makes them lucky.
I have shown why CEOs deserve their pay earlier in the video. I am skeptical of the huge transfer to the heirs because baby boomers have you only live once mentality, and according to a Grandset survey of 1,000 grandparents, 30% plan on spending all their money, and also the inheritance will be smaller because of charitable donations. This of course assumes that these people will give their money to their heirs, since many rich people do not plan on giving their kids any money, such as Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. I would also point out that 70% of wealthy families lose their fortunes by the next generation, and then 90% lose it in the next generation after that. After all, look at the Vanderbilt fortune. His offsprings have lost that fortune. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and please donate to my Patreon so I can make more videos and have your video requests checkmated. And thanks for watching, and have a nice day.